my bearded bastards, I do hope you've had luck in appropriately girding your loins, but today I bring good news. The time has come to ungird, as now we stand at a threshold of glory. Today we will see our 12 savage gladiators duel to the bitter end in a selection of treacherous arenas. Who will move on to compete in round 2, and who will be placed in the Hall of Legends? Well, my friends, we are desperately near to finding out, so grab a mug of Plump Helmet wine and get comfortable as we begin round 1 of this year's Splatterface. Now, we're just going to go down the line here, and as a reminder, today we see in bout 1, Kata the Harpy and her gnashing teeth and slashing talons versus the frightening Foreplay in her quartet of devilish daggers. In bout 2, we have the brutish, barbaric Mulmerian Pinky and his steely blade versus the silent underground huntress and her deadly bow, Jangles. For bout 3, it's the seasoned hunter of the underground, Carnivora the reptile woman versus the desert toughened caravan guard, Fury the Gila monster woman. In bout 4, it's the murderous menace with her flailing arms, Quagga the Reacher, versus the skilled warrior armed in iron and garbed in green, Grin the Goblin. In bout 5, it's the mythic mercenary known as the Eye of Bloodcastle and his brutal axe, versus the pike-wielding palace guard and his shining azure rump, Blue Bottom, the Mandrill Man. And rounding it off in bout 6, we have a halberd-wielding veteran of the deep under grottos, Radok the Gorlak, versus a near-literal mountain of fur, tusks, and horns, it's Wump, and her trunk-like club. And do not forget, my friends, this year the path to the top won't be quite as easy for these contenders, no. For you see, before each bout, one of the 6 arenas will be chosen for the duel, and will undoubtedly have some thrilling effects on the fighting. Now then, what do you say, my bearded bastards? Have I talked enough yet? Are you ready for carnage and glory? Well, it sounds like it, and so I'll quit yapping and let's get straight to round 1. And before we take one step farther, let's first choose an arena for the Harpy and Manora battle. Now then, let's see. Ooh, one of my favorites. It looks like round 1 will take place in the Beast Ring. Our 2 fighters will also be joined by a third, and for this match we've reserved a rare beastie found roaming the far caverns, a green devourer. Ooh, that's a gross one, isn't it? No doubt this bulky brute and its snapping set of jaws will liven things up a bit, eh? Careful out there, fighters. And yes, as for our fighters, in one corner we have the flying fiend with slashing talons and gnashing teeth, Kata, the Harpy. And across from her we have that awful thing that we picked up in the caves, Foreplay, the Manora. Now, I'm gonna shoot you straight here. Both of this bout's contestants creep me the hell out. An awful lot. And you might be inclined to focus on the 4-armed head thing over there, but Kata is some sort of awful in her own right. Originally found deep in the Nokololum forest, Kata and her shrieking coven have given the Splatterface woods dwarves out there quite a difficult time a few years back. But as you can see, eventually we were able to deal with them, of course. Except for this one here, which has been locked away in our dungeon for, what's it been, 3-4 years? It's quite some time. Since then, we've intermittently caught Kata here attempting to gather bits of trash that drifts too near to her cage, where she's found drawing strange runes in the dust, muttering dark words under her breath. Personally, I think she's messing with us, pretending she's some sort of necromancer or something. When you get down to it, I'm pretty glad to finally get a chance to get rid of her. But I suppose we will see if that comes to pass or not. And of course, speaking of things I'd dearly love to be rid of, across from her we have another Splatterface prisoner that's only recently arrived in our dungeon. You know, it's a good thing we haven't cleaned that place out in a while. We're a bit hard up for contestants this year, so we have Foreplay down there. She can't talk, okay? She can't. But she's been like breathing in word-like rhythm sometimes, which I'm sure doesn't really make any sense. It's kind of like a gaspy sound. It's horrible. I'm pretty sure she's trying to just copy the dwarven jailers who feed her. That's how we kind of caught on that she might be intelligent, so that's how she ended up with daggers and armor, and that's why she's here today. We're bound to make some excellent use out of her weird and general horrid everything. And I'll tell you what, if she becomes champion, we're not doing Splatterface again. That's gonna be it. Anyways, hey, to both you horrible creatures and the Green Devourer too, I wish you the best of luck out there. And now, without further delay, let the first bout of Splatterface commence. Okay, straight from the start, Kata is up and swooping in at the Devourer. Oh, there's those talons. She is snatching away at the brute, who seems to be having a hard time doing much of anything. The fighting pair have shifted over to the seemingly sluggish Manera, and now all three are fighting. Oh, but not for long. One of the brute's tentacles have been slashed away. The Devourer goes down, and now it's Kata in foreplay. Kata is still snatching away with those talent. Oh, she fakes out foreplay and goes in for a bite. Oh, she latches on firmly and begins to shake. Foreplay is not looking good out there. Kata releases foreplay, and she's snatching again, biting. Oh, and there goes the Manera's teeth. Bitten out by Kata. Somehow. Man, oh Manera, what are you doing out there, foreplay? Lots of blood splattering out of that horrible spider monster. It's kicking around, punching around, and that's gonna seal it right there. Foreplay is down, and now we begin our timer. And there we have it, folks. The winner of Bout 1 is Kata the Harpy and her terrible talons. Excellent job against that thing, Kata. You really managed to make quick work out of it, and, oh, can we get someone down there? I think she's turning the thing's bones into some sort of arcane circle or something. Yeah, okay, there we go. Back into the birdcage with you, Kata. Hey, if you start behaving yourself in there, we can talk about letting you out more often. Maybe twice a year or so. That's some incentive for you, huh? Good job today. And as for our defeated foreplay, well, what can I say? This poor misshapen beast deserves our begrudging respect. You know, deep down, I was secretly rooting for the Manera. There's just such an air of mystery, and it's a darn shame those mysteries will never be unraveled. Well, foreplay, rest well now in the Hall of Legends. We salute you and honor your sacrifice. Oh, and if the arena cleaners could please grab those teeth, we could put them to some excellent use coming up. Waste not, right? On that note, that's gonna just about do it for Bout 1. And that also brings us to a brand new juncture here at Splatterface. The awkward phase between bouts. That's right. Instead of jumping straight in, I figured it'd be nice to just kind of look around, stretch your legs a bit, refill your drinks and such. Oh, and actually, might I suggest heading over to our new craft bazaar? Yes, there's all sorts of souvenirs and food vendors over there, and it's all made with the finest, locally sourced materials. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do when you don't have a suitable sponsor. And really, it's been a great morale booster for all of us here at the arena to have to pull together like this, work as a team. Really warms your heart to just see everybody working together. Hey, and make sure you pick up a Manera tooth necklace while you can. We got some whipped up in a hurry, and they will not last. Thank you once again for your sacrifice, foreplay. Anyway, so how we feeling? Get some grub? Got them happy thoughts? How's the stress levels? You hanging in there? Well, I sure hope so, because here we go right into Bout 2. Oh, but first, of course, we'll have to choose an arena for Big Pinky and the jangling fun gal to battle in. And it looks like we'll be using our Magma Grotto arena. Oh, that's gonna be a hot time out there for sure. Watch your step before you get caught in a steamy lava fair. And now for our fighters. On one side we have the underground marcher, our bow-wielding archer, Jangles, the plump helmet woman. And across the magma pool we have that nude titan with his flashing blade, Pinky, the hulking Mulmarian. A plump helmet woman. Now that's a sight indeed. You know, it's been long requested that we have a plump helmet person here in Splatterface, since our first year actually. So it's good to finally see her here, even though we don't really know too much about her, other than what she's written, of course. She's got no mouth, remember. But what we do know is that she might have a bit of a shady past. Jangles here has been exiled from her group, which is certainly bizarre. What injustice could a plump helmet person even commit? Does her punishment fit? Well, it may have worked out well for you, my friend, as now you've landed here, in the Splatterface arena. You're on the cusp of glory, as is the underground denizen across from you, the Mulmarian Pinky. Another fighter we really don't know all that much about, other than he's rather large and seems to enjoy his roots and tubers. As I've mentioned, Mulmarians aren't known for their intelligence. They have no society to speak of. But this one here seems like a real smart fella. It started with us trying to teach him how to sit, stay, speak, and here he is now wielding a shining steel blade like a big, strong boy. I hate to be personally invested with our fighters, but this big guy here has begun to grow on me. Probably should have given him a bit more armor, but I'm sure he'll be fine out there. Look at those muscles, folks. Yeah, he's got things under control. Pinky, Jangles, good luck out there. And again, watch your step around that magma. And so without further ado, let the second bout of Splatterface commence. Oh, and right off the bat, an arrow is sent flying by Jangles, but that's a miss as Pinky comes galloping and leaping over the corner of the magma pit. Wow, a risky move there. Coming in, another arrow is loose, missing, and Pinky is on the mushroom and striking repeatedly. But those blows are being deflected by Jangles' armor. Jangles is getting backed up into a corner as Pinky drives on, but an arrow strikes Pinky right in the chest, going deep. But that's not stopping the beast as he continues slashing away. Between the deflections and the dodging, Jangles is completely unharmed, even now. Ooh, and another arrow right in the mole's belly, just as the two back up dangerously. Oh, and Jangles has a misstep and tumbles into the magma. Oh dear. Yeah, we could see the smoke billowing up and out of the pit there as the poor mushroom silently burns. Oh boy, looks like Pinky is hanging in there even after taking those arrows, which is good because you have some waiting to do there, Mole. The timer only begins after your opponent falls, which certainly seems to be taking a while. And yep, there we go. That tough mushroom is devoured by the magma. And so let's get that timer a-striking. And there we have it. The winner of Bout 2 is Pinky the Mulmarian. Just hang in there, my friend. We'll get those holes plugged up and soon you'll be good to go, before you know it even. Good fighting today, but I must say I feel that you may have lucked out a bit with our fungal friend's Magma Plunge. Regardless, you are the winner, and personally, I'm glad for that, even if you'll only be around a short while longer. While your skills have obviously grown strong, I'd still like to see if we can successfully get your fort-breaking skills under control. Hey, a word of warning to the audience before you go thinking a Mulmarian pup might make for a nice pet. These things crap everywhere, like all over the place, it's constant. But, gotta admit, they are cute when they're little. Just something to keep in mind, I suppose. And of course, as for your opponent, the poor, jangling archer, Jangles, based on the small bit of your fighting that we saw, your defeat today may have been a total fluke. I will lament not being able to see you in further battles, but what little we did see was just stellar. Take heart, my friend, because no longer will you wander the pitch-black tunnels of the underground. Now instead you travel the brilliant golden hall of legends. Bask in glory and be free. We thank you for the show. Well, that's 2 battles down and 4 more to get through, and while we dredge the fungal slag out of the pit, I suppose it's high time I address the rumors about our former home up above. As you know, we're down here this year due to us renting out the surface fort, and as you may have guessed by now, those renting it, well, it's a consortium of different groups, actually. There's Adamon Goldmane's legendary whisker controller, Black Walrus brand subnasal fur tamer, and the original rat bastards themselves, Silver Satyr mustache wax. Yeah, it's some sort of a trade meet or conference or something. I don't know what the hell they're doing up there. Besides some scattered rumors that they may be attempting to renovate our arenas and turn them into swimming pools, which is profoundly upsetting. Yeah, I don't like that at all, but, you know, we have their money already, so I can say whatever the hell I want. Just do me a favor. I don't care if you do like one of those brands up there, but if you're enjoying the arena this year, just use spit if you gotta fix your hair, huh? Be a real dwarf. Don't want to give them our business, do we? Bunch of rat bastards. And on that note, what do you say we get into another rousing bout that is to be this year's 3rd? Sounds good, don't it? And so let's get to it. We'll be seeing Carnivora versus Fury this time around, and they will be fighting in... Oh, and it looks like it's the Archer's trial for them. This is excellent. As you can see, right in the middle of the pit, we have a competently trained Beaver Man Archer. Our fighters in this round will have to deal with a barrage of poorly fired arrows while fighting for their lives. It's going to make for a brilliant display, I can easily say that much. Now then, as for our fighters, at one side, clad in scales of green and iron, it's Carnivora, eater of flesh, the reptile woman. And across from her, we have another scaly combatant armed with her mace and armored completely. It's Fury, the Gila monster woman. Now, Carnivora and her crew have been pestering us consistently since last year's Splatterface. Turns out the reptiles caught wind of our arena and liked the sound of it quite a bit. That's right. Carnivora here seems to be under the impression that... one moment. It looks like she's removing her helmet.
Dwarves of Splatterface, look upon your champion and cheer. The puny lizard across the ring doesn't stand up. Why are you laughing?
Well, that's unexpected.
Stop!
Why is there even those big eye holes in your helmet?
My forehead gets hot.
Oh, weird. Well, there we have her, the beady-eyed brute Carnivora.
Shut up!
Let's just hope her forehead doesn't get too hot out there, huh?
Shut up!
Good luck, reptile. And over across the way, we have our seasoned caravan guard and generally diminutive reptile, Fury, the Gila monster woman. I'm very surprised to see how well Fury here is doing in the polls, frankly. She's currently sitting at an impressive number 2 in audience votes for who will win this year. Now, I think she stands a decent chance because of all her armor, but normally you miserable bastards out there are pretty quick to downplay a fighter due to something like size. Just an observation, really. I found it odd. Hey, fun fact, Gila monsters are venomous. Thought that was pretty neat. I don't believe it'll be that dangerous out there, not like Rattleback's venom in year 1 anyways, but I suppose you never know, it could still play a part, couldn't it? Anyways, I'm rambling here, let's cut it. Little caravan guard, I wish you the best out there. And now, without any further ramblings, let the third bout of this here's Splatterface commence. And we start the bout with another arrow that Carnivora deftly bats away as she runs towards the archer's roost. Fury's turning around and runs in to engage, and the dance begins. Both combatants are trading blows, dodging. A clumsy arrow flies by just as Fury lands a hit on Carnivora's hand. A quick trading of blows here. Oh, Fury crushes Carnivora's other hand just before landing a quick bite. Carnivora's at a bit of a disadvantage here now as the fight drives on. Oh, and Carnivora gets another good knock on her head that sends her reeling. Oh boy, Carnivora is down and Fury continues her onslaught of mace strikes, which seem to be mainly focused on the reptile's head and weird tiny eyes. Striking, man, I don't know if Carnivora can even get up at this point. Also, it is absolutely amazing that Beaverman archer down there has not hit a single time yet. Jangle's got a couple hits in and doesn't even have eyes. We'll have to vet these archers better in the future, I suppose. Oh, and there we go. After a series of strikes, Carnivora has been bested. But now for that timer. Let's hope that archer doesn't get a hit now, eh? And there we go. Luckily, it looks like our Beaverman archer ran out of arrows right before the timer began, and so Fury comes out of bout 3 totally unscathed and, more importantly, victorious. Hey, that goes to show you right there how far some armor and skilled strikes can go, eh? Good job disarming your foe, my friend. That was an absolutely stellar display out there. How about now you head into the back and get yourself something to eat, huh? I hear the cooks were just working on a nice Manora meat roast. Don't want to miss that now, do ya? Such a soft-spoken little lizard. You can really see her confidence as she struts away. Folks, keep your eyes on Fury. I think she's gonna go far. She's certainly proven that she has what it takes, and to that end, Carnivora. What a shame. It looks like the Rotten Bone hanging in a branch or whatever tribe is going to have to find a new chieftain. Well, that might be for the best anyways. I jest, of course. No hard feelings. You have sacrificed your life to the arena for the sake of our cherished entertainment, and for that, we cheer on your memory and your tiny, weird little eyes as you enter the immortal Hall of Legends. Thank you, Carnivora. Such tiny little eyes. And yes, moving right on to another of this year's awkward lulls. Again, I jest. Really, it's nice to get out and see what's going on in the arena, I say. Need a break from all that carnage from time to time. Actually, hey, if you head over to the food stalls real quick, you can get an autograph from last bout's winner, Fury. And you might also be able to cite a contestant from last year with his repurposed weapon. It's Laidlore the Kobold, Splatterface's head chef. Turns out the guy has a knack for doling out dishes instead of deadly damage. And like, yeah, of course he cooks better. It's a ladle. It's not a weapon. That being said, Laidlore has really had his hands full holding down the kitchen while fighting off the arena cleaning snails. Goodness, those little monsters get everywhere. But Groundskeeper Bunyan tries their best at keeping them under control. Really, they do a fantastic job cleaning up the fortress debris. I will say that much. Gonna reiterate my thoughts here. I'm very happy to see some of these combatants get out of the ring unscathed. Physically. Of course, now they live lives of terrible, terrible shame. But, these fellas don't seem to mind, that's for sure. But we really haven't seen that much in the way of mercy this year now, have we? Though perhaps next bout will change that, eh? In the next bout, we're going to see that flailing monster Quagga versus a swords goblin Grin, and before we go one step farther, we have to see where they're going to be fighting. And... yes. It looks like they'll be taking the classic Splatterface ring today. Just wonderful. We'll get to see these two fighters in prime form without any distractions at all. Lucky gladiators indeed. Yep, and once again in bout 4 we're going to have that long-limbed reacher with terrible features, Quagga, and her wild flails. And across the way there's a goblin so spry with a glint in her eye, Grin, and her slicing blade. Quagga, Quagga, Quagga. You know, one might be inclined to think you're just as creepy as that Manera, or Kata the Harpy. But I, for one, like the cut of your jib, my friend. Quagga here wants to crush and kill with those awful flails of hers, and it's exactly that sort of motivation that really gets me a-going. You know, you see those everyday fighters with the glazed expressions and the stink of lollygaggery, but Quagga here is a bit different, I say. She's got a vicious glint in her beady eyes, and with her training and size advantage over the goblin, I feel she stands a pretty darn decent chance today. Though I will also say that the goblin looks to be an extremely formidable foe. Grin the goblin, I reiterate, is a trained fighter from the Tower of Maggots, which does not bode well for Quagga. Also, if we want to talk about blood-hungry eye glintings and desire for death, well, Grin is not an opponent to be scoffed at. Add to that the fact that both Grin here and her pal Wump the Troll seek to settle a score with a certain bearded bastard, myself. Well, they certainly have a motive to get them fighting at their prime. Yes, even though they've rebuilt their damn dark tower, they seem to be a little salty still. Maybe they're seeking to redeem their fallen comrade from last year, huh? Kruggsmash, the snapping turtle man, who also wanted to pick a fight with me. Kruggsmash ended up putting on an embarrassing display. Wasn't it silly? Truly something to be mocked. But you two are not going to be able to redeem him by fighting me. You're out of luck this year because I am not getting into that ring. Most likely. We'll see what happens, I don't know. Anyways, the time for chatter has stopped. And now comes the time for blood. Let the fourth battle of Splatterface commence. They're off, the goblins sprinting right in while the reacher hangs back. And they come together. Blade and flails flying. Very quick, very skilled fighting here. Trading blows, parrying. Quagga is a flurry of attack and defense, while Grin is, well, just about the same. Yes, these two are very evenly matched. That is some seriously tense stuff right there. Oh, got a small hit to Quag's arm there, not much. Oh, and Quag drops a flail, and there go her legs. Both legs are deftly swiped away by Grin, and there's the other flail too, adding insult to grievous injury. Stabbing, slicing, that beastly goblin is turning Quagga into a veritable puddle at this point. And yeah, there we go. Quagga the Reacher falls with no injuries. I don't know if the timer is necessary here, but for tradition's sake. And there we have it. A skillful win for Grin the Goblin in bout 4. Oh, I must say, Goblin, you did very well out there. Waiting for just the perfect time to strike like that. Truly remarkable. I suppose I knew you'd be quite a contender this year, but this might well prove it, eh? Also proves that I will not be getting in the ring with you at all. Oh, stop booing. Just imagine if I did have to face Grin out there after she made it all the way to the top. She'd have come all that way just to end up, well, like poor Quagga down there. Yeah, I wouldn't want to embarrass her like that. Good job, Grin. And as for Quagga, you held up extremely well out there until that single distracting hit ended it all. Hey, you've done a lot more than any other Reacher in recorded history, we can say that much, and you will live on still, with your looming visage now haunting the Hall of Legends, as a reminder that ones who come from nothing do not have to go very far to say they've accomplished an awful lot. A strangely poetic end for this horrible underground monster. Rest well, Quagga, and never stop reaching for the stars. Anywho, moving right on as the cleaning crew shovels that carcass out of there. Hey, I'd like to direct the audience's attention over to the training ring. This is where we've trained many of this year's competitors. Quagga, Foreplay, Pinky. Most of the training has been done by our in-4 crew of swords dwarves, but old Battle Beetle has taken the reins a few times too. We have been trying to get another famed swordsman in there, but to no avail. Song the Swan Man has laid his blade to rest and will not pick it up again for any reason, which seems a damn shame, but hey, he could do as he wishes. These days he's taken a bit of a back seat and has resumed his previous role as clothier, but you know, I'm really just glad the guy stuck around, like literally every single other surviving Splatterface contestant. You know, I'm just now realizing how strange that is. You'd think some of these people would have like families and stuff that they'd want to get back to, but hey, again, we're just glad to have these guys around. Probably couldn't have done Splatterface this year without their help, so double happy for him. But anywho, speaking of families that will soon be torn apart, our next bout. Let's get to it. Well, let's see. In bout 5, we'll see the Eye of Blood Castle going against Blue Bottom, the Mandrill Man. And with just 2 arenas left, let's see what they get. Oh, the wild card ring. Wonderful. And we have in fact decided exactly what they'll be doing with the ring. And definitely aren't just now throwing something together. That would be terribly irresponsible of us, huh? What is it? It's what? Sharks? Yeah, but like, oh, there's water in there too. Okay. Today our fighters will be facing a devastating torrent of water that will be rushing in from... Where's it coming from? The ceiling. And where are the sharks coming? They're up there too, okay. Water rushing in from the ceiling, and with it, I guess there's some sharks as well. Those fighters are going to have to work quick before that water overtakes them. Water and sharks overtake them. Should be interesting. Looking down into the ring now, and yeah, there they are. On one side, we could see that burly human and that bastard of a blade, the Eye of Blood Castle. And across from him, there's that blue-bottomed blur with the magnificent fur. Blue Bottom, the Mandrill Man. Right as we speak, the Eye of Blood Castle is leading the polls to take the championship this year, which has caught me a bit off guard. Sure, he's capable, and he does have that axe. Also has a size advantage, of course. But the guy just does not have that much armor, and no shield either. This spooks me a bit. Really, he doesn't look that much different to me than Pinky, the Mulmarian, who is both bigger and also is the absolute last in the polls. Looking at the polls, I don't think you bearded bastards out there have any clue what to think of our contenders this year, which I love an awful lot. Keeping you on your toes here in Splatterface, eh? Gotta reiterate too that the Eye is not a Cyclops. I've mentioned it several times now, but some of you guys see the helm and say, oh, he's a Cyclops. He's not. He's a human, okay? It's a helmet. Just an extra bit of clarification out there for some of you thick-skulled dwarves. Regardless, one eye or two, good luck out there to you, human. And then over across the ring, we have the Mandrill Man and his gleaming rump. Like, I get it's your calling card, but you'd think you'd want to cover the ass up a bit when you're going to be fighting in the ring, eh? I don't know, just thinking out loud here. Nah, never mind, he's waving me off. Gotta love that confidence there. Note that pike of his, people. A very daunting weapon, to be sure, but I don't know if it's going to offset his size difficulty and lack of shield. Hard to say, I suppose. Hey, Mandrill, let's hope that gleaming posterior doesn't make you inferior, eh? He's waving me off again. Wonderful. Confidence, love it. And with that, it's time to get this show rolling, don't you think? Let the 5th bout of this year's Splatterface commence. And there they go, quickly as the water comes crashing down, I think. Oh, and we already have an axe strike to Blue's arm. Not a big hit, though it's bleeding badly. Still waiting on that water as the pair engage in a series of furious strikes. That Mandrill needs to take a shot here. He's getting absolutely hammered by those blows. And yes, the water and sharks, it's sloshing down now around our fighters. You can see the sharks falling to the still dry arena floor as the blows continue raining down on the Mandrill. I don't know how he could even score a hit with a pike at this range, but he's trying. Oh, and never mind, the pike falls away. We have a brutal hit there, but the Manic Monkey Man has managed to maintain his stance under the Eye's sustained fury. All as the water continues rushing in, Blue Bottom is striking still, having a much easier time at it seemingly, but how long can his armor hold out against those strikes? Oh, not long at all it seems. A brutal strike of the Eye's axe sends Blue Bottom's head tumbling across the arena floor. Whew, that's gonna do it right there. And now that timer, let's see it. There we have it. The winner of Bout 5 is the Eye of Blood Castle, who continues his bout by wading in and attacking the seemingly helpless sharks. Now he's just showboating. My goodness. Well, we'll get a fish guy out there to fish the guy out before it gets too deep, I hope. Kanebo the merman is on the task. Stellar show out there, Eye. Really showed us that maybe some skill and strength can go a lot farther than some clunky armor, eh? With this victory, your legend continues to grow, and your Castle of Blood grows more legendary. Funny, I haven't heard of the place before the Eye showed up here, but certainly it's on the map now. Hey, why don't you head over to the food pit and get yourself some shark steaks, my friend? Oh, and your axe. We can get that thing cleaned up and resharpened in a jiffy. Gotta clean off all that monkey blood and fur, eh? Yeah, there he goes. Silently. You know, I gotta be frank, I never really care for the broody types of fighters. I need some pizzazz, some personality. I guess that's why I was rooting for old Blue Bottom. It's nice to have that confidence from a fighter, whether it's horrendously misplaced or not. In this case, I think it was well warranted though. That Mandrill really took an amazing number of hits before going down, and that right there will be his legacy, the savage spanking of Blue Bottom, who now dwells forever in our beloved Hall of Legends. I do hope you and your marvelous blue cheeks rest well, my friend. We thank your azure ass. And with that, we take another stroll through the arena grounds to see what we can see. Yes, we could see some of our fighters mingling out there, which is always good. Looks like Pinky's wounds have already been mended. That is just excellent. And hey, I don't know if any of you caught it, but earlier we got some reports that there was a dispute by the food stalls. Looks like we have some Splatterface drama kicking up. That's always fun. From the sounds of it, Pinky's handlers lost control of him briefly, while Kata's handlers were getting her something to eat, and wow, it went pretty badly. Almost had a surprise round 2 kick off without us getting to see it, folks. Luckily though, both the Beetle and Fury were at hand to help sort things out. I believe arena security has things under control now though, thankfully. Oof, again, gotta be thankful some of those arena fighters stick around, huh? On a more peaceful note, I have to point out the adorable friendship between Wump and Grin. It's not often that we have two fighters wishing each other luck before a bout, eh? Of course, I have to imagine they're both hoping for a chance to skewer me at the end of this thing, huh? Truly heartwarming. Well, ladies, you're out of luck on that front, because once again, I do not plan on going out into the ring. At all. Not a single time during this year's events. Embarrassing our cherished fighters is just really something I don't have that much interest in. I'm sorry, my hands are tied. And on that note, we are moving on to the next and final bout of this round, which by default is the most treacherous ring in round 1's repertoire. Radok the Gorlak and Wump the Troll will be facing off on the dreaded Waterfall Bridge. When the round starts, water will begin to cascade down around them, filling the reservoir below, and a single missed step will send them tumbling down to a watery grave. And as for our fighters, on one end of the bridge we see that stalwart Gorlak guard armed with his oh-so-deadly halberd, Radok. And facing him, across the bridge, there's that shambling shaggy Goliath armed with them all, and she's ready to brawl. It's Wump the Troll. Radok. Now there's another one who I think is going to be a fan favorite. After all, who doesn't like a Gorlak? Plus the guy's as sweet as a peach-faced lovebird meat roast. Real great conversationalist and just a fun fellow altogether. And stories, let me tell you, the guy has them. As you could imagine, the guy has seen an awful lot in his years as an underground guide. Blind cave ogres, seas of crundles, and forgotten beasts of all kinds. Yes, Radok here has an astonishing resume. Of course, he could be lying, I suppose. Never can be too sure when you have people showing up at your door telling stories. But I suppose if the guy isn't just some tale teller, then another underground beast might be in for some trouble today. Wump the Troll, down at the other end of the bridge, was surprisingly at the very bottom of polls for quite a while, but has since climbed to 3rd place. Another big surprise from the polls this year. Normally fighters don't jump up so far from their initial standing, but I could see why you guys would change your minds about her. The size factor is just too much to ignore with Wump. She is a stunning 4 times the size of a dwarf. But keep in mind, she's a whopping 5 times bigger than a Gorlak. Of course, the size, skill, armor, these speculations aren't going to mean much if somebody takes a tumble, which is very likely to be the case today, remember that. Careful out there, you two. Arena team, get ready with that water. A little quicker this time too, eh? And with that, let the 6th and final bout of round 1 commence. And there they go, heading down the treacherous bridge as the water comes crashing down. Ooh, that troll's really got some speed on her as she crashes into the Gorlak who... Radok stumbles. He tried to hold on there but fell off the side into the waterfall. Wump does a little jump there to get a better view. And folks, it looks like Wump goes down as well. Wump dives off the bridge and both fighters are now down below in the mud and deepening water. Oh, and they get right to it too. Wump lumbers in, slamming her club into the sludge again and again. Ooh, a minor hit there on Radok's arm. A close call. Radok recovers and stabs with his halberd, but the attack glances away. Wump has a serious fury in her down there. How can that maul of hers even move so fast? Radok takes another couple of hits, glancing blows. A minor hit there to Wump, spilling her greenish blood. Radok takes another hit to the head, rattling his skull, and pays back the shot by nicking away one of the troll's tusks. The two continue to fight while the water begins to overcome. The troll takes a couple more minor hits there and continues to circle, trying to find a way to crush this ball of metal. Owning up to her name, Wump keeps on the attack, leveling some crushing blows into Radok. Oh, and there goes the troll's other tusk, but you're going to have to make some more decisive hits than that, Radok. Wump is still on the attack, charging, pushing Radok back as he struggles to make a good hit. Oh, and a hit to Wump's foot twists her leg and sends her sprawling. Wump is down, and she's not out yet. She's swinging away, deflecting that halberd. Radok gets another hit in, and oh, that's not looking good for Wump as he bites her eyelid. Just a brief nip, and oh, he stabs at Wump's leg and clearly breaks the bone. Wump gives into the pain, and oh, that's going to finish things off in Radok's clear favor there. His halberd devastates the troll's head, blasting it into meaty shards. Oh, wow, that was explosive, but hey, let's not be so hasty now. That timer still has to go off, doesn't it? Hope you know how to swim, Radok. And there we have it. The winner of Bout 6 is Radok the Gorlak. Ooh, boy. Radok, that was an amazing show out there, one we will not soon forget. Twists, turns, suspense, and glorious violence. Radok, you have proven today that your skills are nothing to laugh at. Double goes for your fabulous armor and halberd. Gotta say, I am shocked at how well that helmet there held up against that tree trunk of a club. Wow, that really was something, wasn't it? Strike after strike after strike. Of course, we have to applaud that thick skull of yours too, I think, huh? You should probably watch your step in the coming matches, my friend. I hope you realize how close you came to failure out there. If Wump had only stayed up on the bridge, then you'd be bubbling around underwater right now. Goes to show you, folks, hubris without discipline is the mortal foe to all skilled warriors. Which brings us to our fallen, who coincidentally fell with the Wump. Oh, poor troll, that would have been a spectacle if you were able to finish the job after jumping down like that, and you almost did. But I guess you couldn't quite handle the little ball bearing now, could you? Well, that's okay, my friend, because now you get to live on in our Hall of Legends, where your misplaced hubris can be on display until the sun's light burns the surface world into a vast sea of magma. Of course, now your friend Grin has to continue her way up to the top all by herself, which seems a shame. But that's exactly what happens here in Splatterface. Come for the glory, stay in our Hall of Legends. And I'm gonna reiterate once again, I'm not fighting this year. Not gonna do it. Don't even get your hopes up, you bastards. Anywho, now that we've finished up Bout 6, that's gonna just about do it for round 1 of Splatterface. Let's hear it again for our winners, and while we're at it, let's get the lineup for the coming round. In round 2, we'll see Kata the Harpy versus Pinky the Mulmarian, followed by Fury the Gila Monster Woman versus Grin the Goblin, and finally, the Eye of Blood Castle versus Radok the Gorlak. And you know what? We've had a pretty crazy year already. The contestants, the arenas, the format changes. There's been a lot of different steps this year, hasn't there? and I feel like getting crazy with it. I'm feeling perky this year, my bastards. And wouldn't it be nice to spice things up and add maybe a dash of spectacle to this whole thing? I think so. Think of the possibilities, my friends. What if we had a series of 3-on-3 battles with the winners moving on? Or how about a series of 6-way free-for-alls, with the losers of each round being ejected from Splatterface in deadly fashion? Of course, I guess we could always make some small changes, more deadly arena duels, or perhaps we could just take the plain route and go with some standard arenas if we're not feeling so frisky. You know, I'm not too sure. Maybe I'll throw up a poll somewhere so you people can vote. At this point, the world is our oyster, my friends, so get excited for the mid-game celebration and round 2 of Splatterface, which, again, will all be crammed into a single titanic event a week or probably a little while longer from now. Just be sure to keep your peepers peeled, because I do not know when the hell it'll happen. Anyways, my bearded bastards, we've only just barely scraped the surface of this year's events, and I hope you're all excited to see some more coming right up in Splatterface.